Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Fires upfield into the end zone, and it's caught. Jelani Woods, touchdown! ISB! A 43-point night for Tyrese Halliburton.
How do you like that, partner?
Galloway drives all the way to the hole, throws it up, got it! Indiana's got their first lead of this contest.
I mean, that's a goddamn winner right there.
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you from high atop the 18th fairway here at the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Appreciate you on this Friday, August 18th. It's a beautiful day. Don't forget Indiana Sports Beat Radio, powered by Andy Moore Honda. Just get more to your door by going to andymoorehonda.com. And the great family of restaurants of the Wow Food Group in and around the Bloomington area. Great places like Southern Stone, for one, the Chop Shop, Market and Restaurant, where you can find the best in-house made products, meats, and a restaurant on the other side. Was in there. Oh my gosh, was just in there. They have a seafood selection that can be beat. I'm talking real seafood, real grouper, whole groupers. In there, shrimp, crab legs, tuna that was like so thick it was crazy, but there's no place like that around. So very, very cool to have that, and very fortunate. Welcome aboard, everybody, hitting us up on the Andy Moore Honda hotline. We appreciate you as well. Hope everyone doing well. Good, got a good show on hand for you today, John Boy. Is that right?
We do. We're going to start things off here in a bit with Mr. Bob Kravitz in the first hour. And then the second hour, we're going to have Zach Osterman and former Indiana offensive coordinator and current Washington head coach, Kalen DeBoer.
Da-da-da. As Indiana Sports Beat Radio continues to bring you the best that we can in great guests. Because I know you're not here to see me, baby. Hope everyone doing well. Andrew says, good morning. The Reds and the Cubs, 2 games back in the National League Central. Yeah, I was just looking at that. Where did my standings go? Let's see. Well, I don't know what they did last night. So what happened last night? What went on with the red legs? Didn't have time to pay attention. But I'm
taking a look right now myself, and it appears the Reds haven't played since Wednesday. They didn't play last night.
That means they didn't lose.
That's right. You can't lose when you don't play.
You didn't lose. Yeah, see, not only are they sitting 2 games outside of the divisional race with Milwaukee, both in a divisional race, both are also in the wild card race, I believe. Where is Chicago? Yeah, Chicago's sitting pretty right now. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 teams that are, that doesn't make sense, a game and a half back. But Philadelphia is leading the group. Or San Francisco must be a game and a half back of Philadelphia. That's what it is. And then the Cubs, Marlins, Reds are all also tied there. So a tight race for that final wild card spot. And that's the thing about the Central Division. If you don't win the Central Division, man, you better hope for a wild card spot, because the records in the middle there are not all that great. I think the Marlins are a third place team in the East. But yeah, who's going to have that late season surge? That's the deal. And I continue to look across here. all three of these teams, I just mentioned the Marlins, the Reds, and I didn't mention the Diamondbacks. The Cubs, the Marlins, and the Reds. Of those three teams, two of them are in the negative in the run differential, meaning they've given up more runs than they've scored on the season, which is amazing to me that you can be up there and be in the negative. Chicago, plus 63. It tells me they score runs, man. So if I was a betting man, I would bet on Chicago. How about the Cubbies in the playoffs? What would that be like? I'm sitting there hoping for the Reds, but that would make a lot of people happy, and I'm just here to make people happy.
I'd tell you what, it's interesting how we consider the Cubs a dark horse, like historically, even though we're not that far removed from them winning a World Series.
The first one in 108 years. So
either way, though, it's not like they
but that team's gone. That team's gone.
That is true.
That team,
all the stars from that team, they're no longer with the Cubs. That is true.
Completely dismantled, manager and all. So there's that. Plenty to talk about today. Looking forward to Bob Kravitz joining us. Noah Vonleh and Yogi Ferrell together again. Per report, they are back together, of course. Sam Amico first reported that Noah Vonleh has signed a deal to play with the Shanghai Sharks. How you do that like that? Is that how they do the Land Sharks deal down at?
You remember Marshall Henderson for Ole Miss about 10 years ago? That was his thing.
That's the Land Sharks, yeah. But it's the top league in China. But he'll be joining former Indiana basketball standout Yogi Ferrell, who was also reported to have signed with the Shanghai Sharks last month. I bet China starts boosting their basketball because they can. The money. This will be Vonleh's second stint with the Sharks, actually. Some other notable players who previously played there include Michael Beasley, Eric Bledsoe, Gilbert Arenas, Jimmer Fredette, Milo Trimble, and former Hoosier DJ White. Vonleh played 8 seasons in the NBA prior for teams like the Hornets, the Trailblazers, the Bulls, the Knicks, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Nets, and the Celtics. The man got around. He's going to be able to have a wall full of jerseys hanging in his home when he retires. He was the 9th overall pick in the 2014 NBA draft by the Charlotte Hornets. Played a total of 362 games in his NBA career. He'll have a nice little pension. He's good to go. He only played 1 season at Indiana under Tom Crean. Big Ten Freshman of the Year, Big Ten All-Freshman team, 3rd team All-Big Ten. Great year. So congratulations. Couple of Hoosiers getting back together. So that's good to see. Ja'Kai Newton. Just basically you can say he's out indefinitely after undergoing a procedure, quote-unquote procedure, on Wednesday. The official release from Indiana just said Indiana freshman guard Ja'Kai Newton underwent a procedure to treat a pre-existing injury today. There is no timetable for his return at this point. Previously, he suffered a microfracture in his knee, and I am not a doctor. You may not know that, but let me tell you, I'm not a doctor. But in studying this and doing some research, the return time could be as much as 6 to 9 months. If that were the case, if that's what he had done, if. So that's not gospel, but in doing the research, that could be a possibility. Now you're down to 11 bodies, scholarship bodies. I've talked about that open scholarship and filling it just for a body. They are running out of time to do that if they're going to. Maybe they won't. We'll certainly find out. But that is some news along that front. Also, Indiana offers a scholarship to another top 20 prospect. Indiana basketball has extended its latest scholarship offer to rivals number 20 overall prospect in the 25 class, Darius Adams. He's a 6'3" combo guard from Manasquan, New Jersey, and a recent transfer to La Lumiere in Indiana. He's a rising junior, a high 4-star prospect in the latest rivals rankings. What does it take to be a 5-star if you're number 20? I thought the top 25 were 5 stars. Either way, with La Lumiere, Adams joins former Fishers guard and top 10 2025 Indiana prospect Jalen Harrelson on a loaded roster heading into this season. So look for La Lumiere to be making some news. Playing for PSA Cardinals of the Nike EYBL circuit and alongside fellow Indiana target Boogie Fland. Adams impressed this summer and elevated his play, earning himself much more deserved recognition and attention heading into a pivotal junior year. A lot of relationships here in this recruiting, if you're not noticing. Darius plays with Boogie Fland. Now he's going to be playing with Jalen Harrelson. Relationships, man. Relationships. Inner ties. Montverde. Think about all that. And that guarantees nothing, but that's what securing those relationships are of the utmost importance for every program. And Indiana seems to be doing it well. Now, it's not waving a magic wand, but it's. I think Indiana is going to start just landing some big-time players. And I don't mean one, like landing Mackenzie Mbako, which was great. And getting the other guys was great, but I think you understand. I think they're going to start landing higher classes, higher-rated classes, which means the guys coming in overall are higher, bigger. And I think that starts in the class of 2024. I really, really do. We've got to take a break. We have a hell of a show coming up today. Bob Kravitz will join us in the first hour. Then later we'll have Zach Osterman and Washington football coach Kalen DeBoer join us. Looking forward to that, man. We've got lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Make sure you keep it right here. Back right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
If you're in the...
All right.
I've got to do something with this mic. I cannot freaking see the comments. Oh, shit. Oh, all right. The hell with that. There we go. All right. missed some of these comments. What time is it? So, Bob, now? Is Bob now?
No, he's the next segment.
Bob's at 9:10. Oh, okay. So we're open here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that stinks for them. So, okay, what time's Bob coming on?
9:10.
9:10, and then Zach at 9:30.
Yes, and then so take
and then we just do a 10 minutes, and then we just do a quick break.
You'll take Kalen DeBoer the rest of the way at 10 o'clock because you already have hit that last break.
Hey, if you guys have questions for Kalen, wait until we're in the second hour. But when we're about to hit that segment, you can put questions in then. Otherwise, they're going to get lost in the comments, guys. And thanks a lot for being along. We appreciate you. Hope everybody that's listening now is a subscriber. Whether you're listening live or later at your convenience, we greatly appreciate you, and would really, really appreciate it if you hit that subscriber button, hit the toggle notifications toggle, and the like button. We greatly, greatly appreciate you. It helps us out immensely in getting the show out to other people.
All right, here we go.
All Endeavor Hospitality Restaurants. Come taste with Dr. Hobbs' Brewing, Metalworks Brewing Company. Bring your passion and your thirst.
This segment is brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, here on this Friday, August 18th. Thanks a lot for being along with us. Greatly appreciate you. Great show on tap today. Up next, Bob Kravitz will join us. Zach Osterman from the Indy Star in the second hour, along with Washington coach Kalen DeBoer. I am so looking forward to Kalen coming on. First of all, he's a great guy. Super great guy. Seriously, the moment he was here at Bloomington, just really, really liked him. Not a man crush kind of a thing, but he's just a super cool, down to earth guy, really likable, and great at really great at what the hell he does. But super personable, and obviously he's coming on here, taking the time to come on the show today, during fall camp, no less. So, do you think his Huskies aren't out? Man, they've got a shot this year, man. They Michael Penix Jr. is a Heisman Trophy candidate. Not only that, look up this dude. They've got a receiver, Rome Odunze. I guess that's how you say his last name, but he led the Pac-12 in receiving last year. He's ESPN's 20th best player in the FBS. I think he's a track star as well. So it's going to have like a little Usain Bolt there. But Washington is looking to make some noise. The last year in the Pac-12, so there's that. Moving to the Big Ten, back to the Big Ten, where he will at some point be facing Indiana, potentially be still there. It hasn't been grabbed up by someone even better. Hello to everybody on the Andy Moore Honda hotline. Appreciate you guys for checking in as well. Fred, Russell, up in Fort Wayne. We appreciate everybody there in Fort Wayne listening on the Fan 1380 Fort Wayne Sports Station. Make sure to stay tuned after Indiana Sports Beat Radio there for Brett Rump each and every day. Doug, how are you, sir? Appreciate you. Larry from jumping in from Las Vegas, which we greatly appreciate. Larry, have you moved to Las Vegas? Because I thought you were an Evansville guy, and you've been checking in from there for quite a while now. Either that or you're on a heater. He's on a heater, baby. Five Lefts, how are you doing? Andrew points out that, again, the Reds and the Cubs, 2 games back in the National League Central. Fred, how are you, sir? Andrew says the Dodgers swept the Brewers. Well, that helped everybody. The Reds and the Cubs have a day off, or had the day off. Reds, Cubs, and the Marlins tied for the last wild card spot. Yep, thanks, Caleb. Appreciate you. Let's see. Robert as well. Let's see. Steven asking, is Race Thompson hurt bad? Yeah, well, Race Thompson hurts his back. We'll talk about that in a second. Yes, Tom Crean, Andrew could definitely recruit talent. I keep saying this. If you look at the guys in the NBA from Indiana, well, now with the addition of Trace Jackson Davis and Jalen Hood-Schifino, it's not so much, but it was nothing but, minus Eric Gordon, it was all Tom Crean guys except for Romeo currently in there. But and Juwan had a short run. But let's see. Andrew pointing out, it says race out indefinitely with broken leg. Yeah, he broke his tibia. We'll talk about that. Very disappointing for him. He had an opportunity with the New York Knicks to play on a league for them. Hopefully he can get back and return. My man, Fozon, checking in from Amman, Jordan, on the Andy Moore Honda hotline, where it is a crisp 102 degrees. Fozon, stay out of the sun, my man. And Fozon, I am talking directly to you, sir. I want a hat from Jordan. I will wear it on the show, or a t-shirt, either way. Just reach out to us somehow. But absolutely. Glad to have you along, man. I'd love to know what Fozon, what his day is like in Jordan. One of these days, we're going to potentially be able to do that. Would love at certain segments to be able to have fan interaction. Everybody always says, why don't you take calls? Is that's because basically we don't have the we'd have to worry about the 7-second delay and all that. And that scares us a little too much. But I would like to, with our regular listeners one day, for specific segments, John Boy, where we could invite the fans in and make it a little more fan interactive.
Yeah, we've talked about different ways we could try doing that. We've just never really pulled the trigger completely on any of them. But yeah, I'm definitely in favor of finding ways to get listeners to interact with us. And even if that means the original idea that I threw around was if we do like a trivia thing on here on YouTube.
No, I'm talking about with guests, man.
Oh, you're talking about with guests? Well, excuse me. I thought you were talking about.
I meant to actually give people the opportunity to ask someone a question.
That could work too. But my point with that is, I guess, and it wouldn't have to be with trivia, but with getting people on here in general, there have to be a way we can filter who we allow to come on, and that's kind of the most difficult thing for us.
It's not who we allow to come on. You mean to ask a question?
Yes.
Well, you can. Oh yeah, you can. We can. I'll show you. I'll tell you what we're talking about, what I'm thinking. But that would be cool. Looking forward to that. Hope everyone's had a great week. It's an absolutely beautiful day outside here. At least it is here in Cincinnati. Whew, man. You see what it's like to be me? I don't even know where I am anymore. Wow.
We're on
Where in the world-
WKRP.
As soon as I said that, that's what I thought, which was one of my favorite shows when I was younger, man. I loved it. Herb Tarlick, I'll never get out of my oh man, I know we'd take a little ding, but I wish you could pull up the one, or maybe I could just pull it up and play it off the phone where we wouldn't get hit. But
no, I'm done with getting copyright. Anytime we get a copyright claim,
what did he say? What did he say by I swear, hand to God, I thought turkeys could fly. It's the greatest episode of all time of WKRP in Cincinnati, and so well known by other people. The turkey episode, man. Well, he wouldn't know the turkey episode. Ryan saying, jumping on and saying, JTP, you do a great job. Yes, he does. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan.
Andrew says, Jim really in some big fish this week on the show. Thank you very much. I hope we always have big fish. But yeah, we've had some special guests this week, as we always try to do, to give you guys as much as we can, especially over the summer when interest wanes. Most people waiting for basketball, but football is here, people. And I'm telling you, I'm a little more bullish, even though I know nothing or very little, what I consider very little, about this Indiana football team. I don't know little about it. I know I don't know what they're going to. I know what they have, but I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know how good this defense is going to play. I don't know. I think the offense is absolutely going to be better. I think the line is absolutely going to be better, which means the running game is absolutely going to be better. Passing game, there's what we don't know. The quarterback battle between Sorsby and Taven Jackson rages on. The difference, Taven Jackson is a better athlete, a better runner. His throwing needs to come around, I believe. That's where Sorsby has a little edge on him. I said early on, I thought it was going to be Sorsby. As we get further along, it's all a guess. Everything I say on this is a guess. So that's why I'm telling you that. I'm not telling you as if I have this book of knowledge. I think it might end up being Jackson because of the running ability and the athletic ability. And if the run game is working, that's what won the game against Michigan State last year. That shocked the hell out of me. I'm still shocked. Should have shocked everybody. Indiana goes up there and doesn't throw a stinking pass. Like 2 passes the whole game. That came at the end when they were scoring. And beats Michigan State. So the more I am thinking, it's a better offense. Indiana could definitely find 10 games to win, I think. But I need to see him in his first game, which that's not fair either, because you're not getting a fair look at him. It's a little bit of David and Goliath. But I've got a little bit more confidence right now. I don't know why, but we'll see. Pete says hello to everybody. He's getting ticks to the IU Auburn people. All you game. Pre-sale started at 10 a.m. today. So you better get on it if you want them. Indiana taking on Auburn. Indiana taking on defending national champion UConn, and then most likely Texas. as Texas will be playing Louisville, and I'm not expecting Louisville to win yet. But there's a lot of pressure on Texas's new coach. He goes up there and loses. That'll look bad. But I expect Indiana to play. Well, no, that's not true. If Indiana were to lose to UConn, they would end up playing Louisville if Louisville loses to Texas, which I expect. But either way, Indiana is going to have a game with UConn, their defending national champion, a game with either Louisville or Texas, a game with the year before's reigning national champion, Kansas Jayhawks, and highly ranked Auburn. That's a hell of a preseason schedule, people. Mike Woodson did that quickly, very quickly. Has Indiana playing, and not only that, but they're playing in Madison Square Garden. That's an awesome thing. I mean, if you want to go to a game, that's the game to go to. Go to Madison Square Garden. Go see some history. It's just, it's weird. There's nothing special about it as far as the building itself, but the aura that is contained within that around. I'm telling you, you feel it like a blanket. And if you don't, I don't know what to say for you. But yeah, very cool. Yeah, Fozon. Appreciate you. Yeah, Tannis making a suggestion. How about live from Amon Jordan? Hey, brother. Fozon says his weekend is Friday and Saturday. Well, that's the same weekends we have. So that works out perfect. But I wouldn't care. We could do the whole week down there. Just get me over there, my man, and I'd be there. Alan says the cancellation of the U of L series just to do expansion, or is it because of the thought of never winning? That's a great question. And I don't have the exact answer on that, but I'm of the mind that they need the flexibility right now because of all that's going on. But if I was Indiana, I would also be trying to get out of that game just for the fact of that's not a game, a non-conference game you need on your schedule right now. You don't need to be playing Cincinnati as they're trying to make the college football playoffs on the road. You don't need to be playing Louisville on the road. So I think that I think it's a little bit of both to answer your question, Alan. And wisely so, because all Indiana, now that they're getting out of the Big Ten East, all they have to do is win those 3 non-con games, which they can set up to be anybody they want. Play Ball State, play whomever. Every dink team you can. Fans are not going to love it, but you get your 3 wins. Now you only have to win 3 out of your non-conference wins, and you are not going to be forced to play Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and Michigan State year in, year out. Not saying you're never going to have to play them again, but you're not forced to play all 4 of them guaranteed. So your schedule is going to loosen up, and that gives Indiana a chance to find 3 more wins, in my opinion. We've got to take a break. We've got lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by Gotina, part of the Wow Food Group. Bob Kravitz joins us next. Back right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Whether
There's Kravitz.
We got to have a song for him. There's Kravitz. There's Kravitz. Or where's Kravitz? Where's Kravitz?
It's kind of catchy.
it would get in you like Costanza.
Oh man,
how are you, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm talking to Peyton in about an hour for a story next week, so that's gonna be awesome.
Damn. Well,
yeah,
congratulations to you.
What's that?
Congratulations to you.
Yeah, it'll be. I'm gonna run that on Monday because on the weekends it kind of gets lost. So yeah, I'm gonna run that Monday. So I'll mention that if you don't mind.
Brother, you are always allowed to do everything you need.
Yeah, well,
this is your platform while you're here.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Oh, we've got a. Oh yeah, I'm sitting there looking at Bob Kravitz, musing of an old sports writer, and I'm seeing a logo of a cartoon looking character of an old sports writer guy with
I should get one of those with a hat.
With the hat and the press thing on it. And the press thing on it.
Yeah, fedora, press hat.
Yes,
and
a typewriter. And a stogie and a typewriter. Yes. That would be great. It seriously would be. I think it would be awesome.
Actually, I've had people offer to do artwork for me, but I don't want to hurt my daughter's feelings.
I think that would really be kind of catchy. I really do.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm going to reach out to somebody today. I think about doing something like that.
You're welcome.
You're much appreciated.
That's all I do is think about that kind of crap all the time. Just nonstop. I see something, and I'm just sitting there staring at it. And I'm like, oh my God, that's just natural. I'm like, holy crap. I'm like it. I can see it in my mind. I can see it there.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, did you have any luck at all with that card? Or
I haven't seen that guy.
If you have a chance to send me another one, great.
No, I'm just gonna. Yes, I meant to do that anyway, but I haven't seen him. But I just need to do that.
Okay, my
fault.
No problem. No problem.
I thought I would have seen him by now. It's been weeks. Let's see. Colts rolling along.
Well, I mean, Anthony got named the starter this week, so that's a big story.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Your latest piece on the old line, which it's so funny. The Colts in Indiana are paralleling themselves so much on offense right now.
10 seconds, guys. To us and enjoy healthy eating with stocked meals in your fridge. Order online today at thefreshfork.com. Fresh Fork is a proud partner of WOW Network. This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indie Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Friday. Appreciate you being with us. Brought to you by our good friends from Remax Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. It could be the difference between you getting the home you want or not. Reach out to her, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. And now welcome the man, the myth, the legend, Bob Kravitz.
Mr. Coyle, how are you?
I'm doing fine, sir. How are you? How has your week been?
It's been good. I got a lot done. I went to a bunch of Colts practices, saw the Colts and the Bears go at it, a couple of scuffles, couple of skirmishes, kind of like that, all over that. But, the big news this week, Anthony Richardson named as the full-time starter. I asked Shane Steichen, if he struggles, would you go to Minshew? He's like, no, he's our guy. So that's good. I think it's important for this young man to go into the starting lineup and not have to worry that if he throws 29 interceptions and breaks Peyton's rookie interception rate record, that he's old. So,
not to get off topic, but you mentioned in the break that you'll be talking to Peyton.
I am. So look for that on Monday morning. I'll probably post it about 7 a.m. or so. or whenever the hell I get up. Actually, I can schedule it. So yeah, 7:00 on Monday morning. I'm having a long conversation with Peyton Manning today about life as a rookie quarterback and some of the challenges that Anthony Richardson is going to face. And Peyton is always a fantastic interview without fail. So I'm really looking forward to not only talking to him, but writing that piece that will appear Monday on bobkravitz.substack.com. bobkravitz.substack.com. Yes, that's it.
Yeah, John will throw that up here in a second. I was mentioning too, it's really odd how, there we go, bobkravitz.substack.com.
Thank you, John.
Easy to remember. The Colts and the Hoosiers paralleling themselves so much on offense right now, minus one thing, a quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, there's that.
There's just that one little thing. Their offensive line is a big question mark.
Yeah.
And your latest piece on the Colts is about that. It's the same with Indiana, of course. That has just absolutely killed them in the last couple of years.
Right.
And it killed their quarterbacks to the fact that they've all transferred. Indiana's got 3 quarterbacks playing at 3 different schools right now. Michael Penix is at Washington. You've got Jack Tuttle up in Michigan. Oh gosh, dang it! What's the other guy's name? I think is at Bowling Green now. But they're all gone. They got the hell out of here because they all got hurt. Every one of them was getting hurt. They're like, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah, no, the Colts offensive, I think they're going to be much improved. I really do.
Because that's so important, especially for a rookie.
This is the same group, basically, that we've seen the last year or two. And I think they're going to benefit from a lot of things. I think they're going to benefit from having played together a long time. I think Bernard Ryman, the left tackle, he was a rookie last year. I thought he was much better in the second half of the season than he was in the first. I'm still not sold on Will Fries, but the big 3, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Braden Smith, I just think they all kind of went down with the ship last year. I didn't think they played particularly well. They'll tell you they didn't play well. But keep in mind, they had no passing game. You had quarterbacks who had no ability to move. There were statues back there between Nick Foles and Matt Ryan. You didn't have wide receivers who could get separation, so the guys had to hold on to the ball longer than they would have liked. Jonathan Taylor was hurt; he had the ankle. Still ran for 800 and something yards and averaged 5 yards per carry, which isn't bad for most people. But so I think they're going to be better. And the big thing is they've got a different offensive approach. It's more of the option read type of stuff that we see in college. And they've got a new offensive line coach, Tony Sperano Jr., who did great work really throughout his career, but did great work with the Giants last year.
Absolutely. And the Colts are a lot of optimism, but I think fans are smart enough to know to muzzle the optimism to a degree. They want to see fun, exciting football, but they also know that they have a rookie quarterback who is going to make rookie mistakes, and it's probably going to be a not playoff type of year.
Oh, there's no question. Look, Peyton Manning played 44, 45 games in college. His rookie season, his team went 3-13, and he broke the record for most interceptions ever thrown by a rookie quarterback. Although that record could be broken this year with so many rookies starting, and you got Stroud, you got Young, you got Richardson. So the record might be broken this year, and I know he'll be really pleased about that. Look, it's all about number 5 this year, getting him acclimated, getting him comfortable in the offense. This is going to be a learning year. I would be surprised if they win 4, 5, 6 games at the most. You got that. You don't have Jonathan Taylor. God knows what's going to happen with him. Zach Moss is out another couple of weeks. So the running game is nothing special. So we'll see, but I don't expect very much. I think people need to really tamp down their expectations and just enjoy watching the development of a young quarterback.
Absolutely. And then the rest of the offense, Jonathan Taylor, that saga is that going to end with him playing for the Colts, I expect?
I don't know. I mean, I think they're perfectly willing to let him rot. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I think if he's insists on a new contract and a trade, then trade him. Get yourself, whatever you can get, a second and a fourth. Sounds like a reasonable expectation. But, it doesn't do anybody any good to be a hard ass about this whole thing and sit around and just make, mean faces at each other. It just doesn't make any sense. So I'm of the mind that at this point, if there's no way out, then just trade him.
Yeah, because it sucks because that's a guy that you should be able to say take care of and say, oh, you've done great. We've loved having you here. But being a running back in the NFL actually sucks.
Oh, it's awful.
It might be the worst position in the NFL. It has the smallest probably life expectancy of like 3.5 years. Number one, you're considered a dime a dozen. You're
Right.
not going to get the big dollars. I mean, it's big dollars compared to what I make, but not compared to what everybody else around them makes. It has changed so much. It's weird. I mean, that used to be a marquee spot, man.
By the time that, excuse my voice, by the time that you're in a position to make the big bucks in free agency, you're done. You're done because they can franchise you 2 years in a row and keep, after your rookie contract, they can franchise you. Well, by the time that's done, you're cooked. You've got too many miles on the tires, and the engine's falling out and the carburetor is blowing up and whatever else happens. So no, being a running back in the year 2023 is less than optimal. It's not like being a left-handed relief pitcher. You can last forever and do very little work, or being a punter or kicker, what have you. Being a running back, you're right. They are viewed as a dime a dozen.
Which is sad. I know you don't follow Indiana, but like I was talking about a minute ago, the mirror of the Colts is kind of weird to me because it was the same last year, but this year as well. Man, everything I can't even say everything's riding on the line now. Now it's the quarterback, but at least the Colts have one. And I wonder for a rookie, because whoever Indiana designates is pretty much a rookie as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Is it better? Wouldn't it be better to have that guy know who he is now instead of finding out the week of, the day of, the first game, so you can just be in that mode for as long as possible since you've never been in that mode?
Yeah, it's a very dangerous situation. And oh, by the way, you open with Ohio State. Good luck with that. Well, let me ask you, who do you think is going to win the quarterback derby? You're closer to it than I am.
Well, I was just talking about that earlier. Early on, I said I thought it was going to be Sorsby because of people I talked to said that he's the better thrower, that he can really, put it there. But Taven Jackson is a much better athlete. He's a better runner. And I don't know what the offense is going to be like exactly. Right. Which way are they going to tilt? Judging off of their win last year over Michigan State, which was a game they threw the ball 2 times, and that came at the end of the game. I'm wondering if they're not going to try to edge more towards the running side because they have Josh Henderson, who is a great running back. You've got All-American Jalen Lucas, who is lightning in a bottle. So I'm wondering if that's the case. Then earlier I mentioned that maybe Taven Jackson, and everybody keeps saying, well, he didn't transfer from Tennessee to sit. Well, nobody came here to sit. Right. So
that doesn't matter to me. Everybody wants to play. Brendan Sorsby wants to play just as much as Taven Jackson. I don't care where they came from. But so it's a unique situation. And now what sucks is once that happens, you can almost guarantee that next year or maybe mid-semester, the other guy, well, Taven can't transfer because he's already transferred, but Sorsby can. So now you've got to worry about that, which that sucks too, but it is what it is. That's a whole different problem.
It's kind of a mess, and I don't understand.
Can you imagine the NFL being like that?
No. Well, I mean, the Colts haven't known who their quarterback's going to be in the last 7 years. So,
well, but I mean about if they name Anthony Richardson as a starter and Minshew says, "All right, screw this, I'm out of here," and leaves for Philadelphia or something.
Yeah, I should say Gardner Minshew is the best. He totally gets it. You know, he totally gets that this is Anthony's franchise. You know, I'm sure he thinks, you know, in his heart of hearts that this hasn't been a fair fight, but I think he knew coming into this, he's a smart guy. He knew that as long as Richardson picked up on the offense, I think he knew that he was going to win this battle. But I'll tell you what, you can't do any better as far as a backup goes.
Well, they're lucky in that regard because they've kind of been hurting there. And it's good for, even though he's not a long-time veteran, he's enough of a veteran that he can be of help to Anthony Richardson.
He's 27 years old, so he's been around. You know, every time he plays against the Colts, he looks like Joe frickin' Montana. So, you know, I mean, if things went completely south and they were worried that this kid was going to lose his confidence, I would have no hesitation, none, about putting Gardner Minshew in there. But I think they're going to let this kid, they're going to ride or die with this kid. And I think that's probably the best way to go about it.
Absolutely. What else is going on in the musings of an old sports writer?
Well, I wrote a couple of weeks ago, or about a week ago, about Bruce Springsteen. We've talked about that. My trip up there to Chicago, that was fun. I got the offensive line piece today. I'll be at the game tomorrow. And look, on Monday morning, I will have a big piece with Peyton Manning. So be sure to check that out and subscribe and help me pay the mortgage.
Brother, we appreciate you as always.
Okay.
Have a great weekend. Make sure you give Bob Kravitz a follow and go to bobkravitz.substack.com for the great content from the man. Thanks, brother. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by Barber Pop Real Estate Services. In the market for a home in the Louisville or Southern Indiana area, they have served those communities for over 3 decades. Reach out to Barbara at barberpop.com or our good friend Matt Lincoln, Matt at barberpop.com. We're back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
If you're in the market, what in the world was that? It doesn't work. Hello. Huh? All right. Get out of that. Oh, don't need that. I need this. Andy. At Andy. I'm not blaming anybody for anything. I simply made a statement that said, have you noticed that every event is always not what it is said it's going to be? That's all I said. They've been different reasons. But every event is not what it's going to be. The last one was the tournament thing. There was no way that was ever going to happen. Ever. It was impossible. But yet it was advertised that all the players are going to be there. Now,
That was never going to happen. So, and as far as NIL, they're a pimple on the butt of Hoosiers for Good. People just don't understand because Hoosiers for Good does not chirp, chirp, chirp. Hoosiers for Good is 10 times the size of anyone else. And that is something I know for a fact. I know the numbers. What's not true, Andy? What am I doing? And just because I say something you don't agree with does not make it bashing. I'm just giving a statement and making facts. Simple. That's it. And I don't think that I am alone. If you think I'm alone in that feeling, you're incorrect. But
All right, here we go. Zach should be on here shortly.
Most popular gathering spots in Bloomington. Whether you're out on a date with your spouse, friends, or coworkers, Feast Market and Cellar offers an extensive wine selection with a sommelier on staff to help you with your selections. Feast also provides a wide variety of cheeses, gourmet sandwiches, entrees, a coffee bar, bread, pastries, all made fresh and mouthwatering. Stop by Feast Market and Cellar today.
This segment is brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, high atop the 18th fairway. Jim Coyle with you as always. Looking forward to Zach Osterman from the Indy Star joining us. Andrew Jones pointing out on the Andy Moore Honda hotline says, I'm bullish on IU football. If they can compete with OSU, we could be decent. I don't know that I would use the word bullish, only because of so many unknowns. Don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Don't know exactly what style the offense is going to be, but I'm just guessing from what I've seen, what I've heard, what I know, that it's probably going to be more running than passing. And that has now led my thinking towards Taven Jackson being the guy. We'll see. And we'll see what Indiana can do. They have to just be competitive. That's all they have to do. And it really sucks that they have to open the season against Ohio State. I've got to be honest, from a complete non-biased outlook. The Big Ten has absolutely screwed Indiana football over the last several years. And that's another great reason they should be celebrating that they're getting out of this stupid Big Ten East. The Big Ten can still screw them in a way, but let's hope they don't. Zach Osterman from the Indy Star joins us now. Zachary, how are you, sir?
Good. How about you?
I cannot complain. We're just talking a little IU football. I'm a little more optimistic for them this year. Other than I can't be it much more because I don't know much more. I don't know who the quarterback is. I don't know exactly what the offense is going to look like. I'm guessing that because of an expected much better performance by the O-line, that the running game will be a much bigger part of the offense, a la what they were able to do against Michigan State last year and getting that shocking win that I was just unbelievably shocked at. And in that, deciding that, I'm like just guessing, all right, well, Taven Jackson is a better athlete and a better runner. Brendan Sorsby's a better thrower, but the offensive line is the key. If they can't block, it doesn't matter, but I think that they will. You've got a great stable of running backs. So Indiana just has to be competitive, and there are probably 6 games that they can win if they are that.
Yeah, I don't know if the word I would use is optimistic. I do think I'm probably a little more bullish than I was at the beginning of fall camp with this team and this offense. And I mean, part of that is just kind of the sense that I wanted to see this team before I had a sort of firmed up, I guess, certain opinions.
Yeah.
I think the thing about that run game is, especially if we see some of the option concepts that Indiana really started kind of layering in with Dexter Williams. You talk about the Michigan State game, certainly the Purdue game before he got hurt. If that becomes a more kind of consistent thing, even if Taven Jackson or Brendan Sorsby is the quarterback, and I think both of those guys are athletic enough to do some of it, you can improve as a line because of the effectiveness of your running game, just as much as a running game can improve because of the effectiveness of a line if the running game is executed well. And in particular, one of the reasons why teams run the option is because it's not necessarily easier to block, but it is different to block. And there are ways in which the option, if it's run right, even out of the gun, takes some of the pressure off of a line, especially sort of just in that I don't want to say old school, because offensive line play has evolved massively, just like every other element of football in the last 20, 30 years. But in the more, I guess, maybe conventional way of thinking about offensive line play of just, you make your calls and your checks and everybody figures out who they're supposed to block and then the ball snapped and you go block them. But when you run option stuff, you can do more belly stuff. You can do more trapping. You can mess with your splits a little bit more between linemen that maybe make certain things easier or stretch a defensive line out. If you're going to do it in the spread, the spread tempo air raid style, and there are plenty of coaches that do. The air raid has evolved under certain coaches to be an effective rushing offense. Then you're going to deal with a lot of situations where you're dealing with an unloaded tackle box. You're dealing with maybe 6v6, 5v5, that kind of thing inside the tackle box in terms of players to block. And so those two things can go hand in hand is kind of what I'm trying to say of if the running game can be effectively sort of marshaled and managed, and Bob Bostad and Walt Bell can really kind of mesh together and get that going, then that can improve your offensive line. That can make life a little bit easier for your offensive line. And then suddenly, if you are running the ball better, then you're going to be able to, run things like play action a little bit more. You're going to start getting single coverage more. And when you start getting, this is true of, just about any passing offense, but when you start getting single coverage against the air raid is when you start eating. The air raid is built like one of the oldest kind of philosophies of the air raid is that if a wide receiver is covered one-on-one, he might as well be open. Because of the way that you coach him and the way that you coach your quarterback to sort of spot those moments. So I guess the short version of this is I do think Indiana's better on the offensive line this year. I do think that running game looks intriguing. And if those two things can dovetail to Indiana having an effective rushing attack for the first time in a while, then I think we could see, just all boats rise on that offense.
Absolutely. I think injuries will be always a factor, of course, in that. But I'm like, at first I was like, nothing. I expect nothing different than last year. But now, as time has gone on, I'm just like you said, I've gained a little confidence in what I think they can do over these last couple of weeks. And you've got new coaches in there, a new offense, not a new offense, but new coaches on the defensive side. And Tom Allen now pulled back from offense and defense. And it's going to be interesting to see him do that for one, but to see what the defense is going to be like, because I know they've got Aaron Casey in the middle and they've got a lot of transfers in the defensive backfield. But I probably know less about this defensive unit this year than I have in the last several years.
Yeah, I think the personnel side of that is obviously fair. I do think the other piece of this, and I said this to somebody yesterday, we've never really gotten this, Tom Allen has turned over the defense twice before now to someone else. It worked with Kane Womack, and obviously it's It didn't work quite so well with Charlton Warren. I think it's lazy to say it only worked with Kane Womack because of their time together before they came to Indiana. They coached on the same staff. Obviously, Tom learned his defense from Dave Womack, Kane's father. And Charlton Warren had to deal with, if we go point by point through that 2021 season, that defense kind of disintegrated on him. Guys were just getting hurt. You think about some of the biggest, other than Micah McFadden, some of the more important playmakers on that defense. Tywan Mullen was never really effective that year. Devon Matthews, and even guys like Jalen Williams, who we found out later was playing with broken ribs and was basically just telling his coaches, we don't have anybody else. I'm going to deal with the pain and play because it's the best we can do. But what we've never really gotten sort of an adequate explanation on to maybe be able to gauge, and maybe we never will, maybe Tom Allen will never give it to us, but to be able to gauge sort of, why it works when it works and why it doesn't when it doesn't, is essentially where the lines are drawn in Tom Allen saying it's your defense, it has to meet these certain parameters. But you get it almost like, Tom Allen is the builder and he's selling someone a home and he says, this is the floor plan. This is where the studs are going to be. This is where the supports are going to be and the struts and all that. But you get to decide which room's the family room and which room's the dining room and how big you want your kitchen. And, if you want a kitchen island or you want an open concept, you get to put all the fixtures in. You get to customize it. We've never really and again, I think Tom Allen probably doesn't want to share that, and I understand why. But we've never really gotten a firm answer on kind of what is sort of non-negotiable for Tom Allen and what is kind of up to the coordinator that he turns it over to. And as you said, personnel clouds a lot of that. We need to figure out where a lot of these guys are going to fit. I think we do have some more answers. I think you can start to flesh out a corner rotation that includes a Jameer Johnson, a James Mons, a Jamari Sharp, and some others. I think, we've seen some good moments from linebackers like Jacob Manga-Farrar, Matt Holt, who was just put on scholarship yesterday as a walk-on. I do think Indiana is, if it stays healthy, going to be noticeably better along the defensive line this season, just bigger bodies, more athletic bodies, some really good-looking freshmen and transfers, or if not freshmen, let's say redshirt freshmen, sophomores, that kind of thing. But then there's also this sort of lingering question of what does Matt Guerreri do with the defense? What's he allowed to do? How far can he go? And what are his sort of ultimate aims? And so that's kind of the other piece of that defense that we're always kind of turning over. And it's, it's funny because when you think of coaches that bring their own offense, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them tend to call that offense. Brian Day calls his own plays. Paul Johnson, when he ran the triple option at Georgia Tech,
Jimbo Fisher.
What? Yeah. I'm thinking about even someone like Kevin Wilson, who I think at times turned over play calling duties, but still held, when Tom Allen says, I'm not overruling you on game day, I'm hands off in that regard. I'm not totally sure Kevin didn't every once in a while be like, nope, we're doing this, just in the moment say, no, we're doing this instead. And I think there were actually times where Kevin was just calling all the plays. Coaches with a defensive background, it doesn't always feel like it's quite the same thing. And it feels like, that they want to get away from that. And I sort of understand why. But you're always, and I think people ask Ryan Walters about this too, you're always kind of stuck in this mode of, well, but it is your defense and you want some things to stay. You want some things to be consistent. So what are those things? What are the things that, again, aren't negotiable, and what are the things that are?
Absolutely. I want to give a quick shout out to Chris for joining us from Swanton Novers, England. That's a first, England. We've got Amon Jordan on right now as well. So we're an international show right now, Zach. So we got the flavor going. And I agree with everything you said. It's just going to be such an unknown. And it's so I hate for Indiana that they have to open against Ohio State with this team, with this quarterback. it's 5 out of the last 7 years. I don't know how that happens because it's not happened to any other Big Ten team. Thank God for Indiana. They're getting out of the Big Ten East, which is the best thing that has happened to Indiana football in years. But that's ahead. That's in the future. It's not the here and the now. Playing Ohio State first, is that good or bad? You're on one hand, you're getting it out of the way. On the other hand, you're a 28-point underdog, and let's face it, not to be negative, but I don't have any confidence that Indiana has any chance to win that game. Is that a confidence blow? Do they have to worry about not getting blown out to keep that confidence high, even though they've got non-con games following, injuries, things like that right off the bat? There's so many thoughts that you think about when you know your first game is against a juggernaut.
Well, I just want to know if Chris has been to Carroll Road anytime recently. If he says he's coming from Swanton Overs, he lives near Norwich. So
Yes.
I want to know if he's been to Carroll Road at all recently. Anyway,
What's the Norwich? I was looking at. I was just looking at that on the map.
Norwich is a city in the Norfolk area of England,
Right?
And Norwich City is the major football team in Norwich, and their home ground is Carroll Road. So to be honest, and I don't want to sound overly flippant here, and I feel like I say that around IU football, and maybe that means I'm being flippant without meaning to. I think there is an extent to which if you play at Indiana, you just need to be comfortable with the idea that sometimes you're going to get beat up by the Ohio States and the Michigans. I mean, I often think about a story Mark Deal told me when I was putting together kind of a summation of the Gator Bowl season a few years ago, and I was just kind of, going step by step through some of the biggest points of that season. And for those who don't know, Mark Deal played at Indiana, coached at Indiana. He's been on the football staff since time immemorial. Whatever you love most in the world, Mark Deal loves winning the old Oaken Bucket more. And
his father played on the IU
football. His father played with George Taliaferro. I mean,
I was going to say this.
Is
the photo hangs on the wall at the alley bar. That big gigantic photo. If you haven't been in there, it's incredible.
Marrow deep, but that season, that 2019 season, when Indiana went to the Gator Bowl, they lost at home to Ohio State 51-10. I believe it was their first Big Ten game of the season. I think it was their Big Ten opener. If it wasn't, then it was very early in their Big Ten schedule. And Mark Deal sent Tom Allen a text that night. He told me this story later that said, in 1979, we lost by 41 at home to Ohio State, and we went on and won the Holiday Bowl. And the point he was trying to tell, make to Tom Allen that night was, yes, this was an ugly day, but we can put it behind us. There's still a lot this team can achieve. I also always keep that in mind because, again, I come back to this point of, and I know it's the first game of the season, and yes, I mean, I know people love to say the 5 games in 7 years. It's a bit of a misnomer. It's really more 4 and 6 because every Big Ten team opened with another Big Ten team in the 2020 season. Still, I think Indiana would like to stop getting these games scheduled, and I don't know who they have to have a word with in the conference office for that, but I think there is an extent to which you want to try and win every game. You want to be able to get yourself to a level where you can at least expect to compete with these teams, maybe at least at home. And I understand all that. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to predict Indiana's going to beat Ohio State. I would be, and I'm not really a gambler. If I were, I would look upon that 28-point line with some curiosity because Ohio State's going to have a new offensive coordinator, going to have a new quarterback, going to have 2 new tackles. We'll see. But one way or the other, I think that if you're at Indiana, you have to be comfortable with the idea that every once in a while, games like that are going to turn ugly. And as long as you can get out of them healthy, and as long as you can kind of frankly, there's an extent to which I think playing Ohio State at the beginning of the season is a benefit because that means if you play in week 1, you don't play in weeks 2 through 13. And so they're out of the way. There's no, I've seen Indiana seasons that seem to be humming along nicely, and then they'd run into this gauntlet of like Ohio State, Michigan State, Michigan. And it's like, well, then boom, 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 3 losses in a row. The Pinstripe Bowl season in 2015, Indiana started 4-0. They lost to number 1 Ohio State at home within sight of the end zone, down 7. And then that was the first of 6 straight losses. And then they won their last 2 games and got to 6-6. And so my point is, if you're at Indiana, you have just got to be comfortable not letting games like that derail your season if they do get ugly.
Absolutely. How was the meal at Southern Stone? I understand you were there recently.
It was very good. It was very good. I got the hot chicken sandwich, or I guess just the buffalo chicken sandwich. Yeah, it was very good.
Zach Osterman.
I'm checking out Metalworks this weekend, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, perfect. Looking forward to that. Zach Osterman from the Indy Star. Make sure you're following him for all content. He is the IU insider for the Star. Appreciate you, sir. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and Kalen DeBoer will be joining us right after this.
Hey,
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether
you got DeBoer on the show?
Yes, sir. He'll be on at 10.
Nice.
Anything you want me to ask him?
No, I toyed around with the idea of doing some sort of Michael Penix, Kalen DeBoer story. I'm just not really sure what I'd write, but
I'll be definitely asking him about him.
Yeah,
Definitely.
He's a good dude. I mean, the 1 or 2 times I've dealt with him since he left IU,
He is awesome. Hell, he was up at 5:30 because we were texting it. I was sending him something, and he responded right back. I'm like, it's 5:30 out there. And it was like instantaneous. And you're welcome to stay on.
I got to get some stuff done, but yeah, tell him I said hi. I'd love to, but I got a day that's going to get cut in half by something I got to do this afternoon. So I got to get a buzz on, but good talking to you as always, Jim.
You, buddy. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
We'll see you.
See you soon, sir.
But
all right, this will be a quick 5 or 6 minute segment.
Yeah. Chris, traveling over in England again. That's a first. That's our first England someone from England that I recall. Very cool. Chris watching us over in, and I'm looking this up on a map. I mean, you cannot go any further west in Great Britain than where he is. Well, I mean, he's right near Cromer, but right near the coast. Man, that's got to be cold. The North Sea. Oh, that sounds cold. Holy crap. Wow, very cool. You should take us with you, Chris, and we'll do the show from wherever you are. Wouldn't that be something? You are moving there? Wow, no shit. So we will have a regular viewer from England, but why there? As I'm looking at this on a map, Chris, Swanton Overs is, man, there's nothing over there. Norwich, but this is just a big hunk of England that nothing's around. Not close to London. Cambridge is the closest. Birmingham. Man, it's just, whoo. Wow. I mean, that's a different place.
All right, 30 seconds.
Southern Stone Restaurant, located at the corner of Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington, offers a variety of freshly made fare, tying their roots in limestone with their love of Southern eateries. With quality, local, and organic food as their main focus, Southern Stone strives to always provide their guests with an exceptional dining experience. With weekly specials, quick, attentive service, Southern Stone Restaurant provides delicious 5-star comfort food with a Southern charm at 2-star prices. Southern Stone Restaurant is part of Endeavor Hospitality's Wow Club.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Friday. I hope you had a great week. We're about to get with it. Coming up next, we'll have Kalen DeBoer joining us. There he is. He's jumping in now. Kalen, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, man. It is great to see you, first of all.
Yeah, I didn't know as soon as I clicked enter, I was going to be right there with you. So, but
I didn't either. I didn't either. I think the producer got us in there, so that's no big deal. But it's perfect. What a great background. Your man. Somebody did your shelving right. No one usually has that nice. The only person that's ever beaten you for me is McCullough, who coached McCullough down at Notre Dame when he first came to Indiana. Let's see. I think it was a copy of the Super Bowl because he was with the Chiefs. He had a copy of the Super Bowl trophy on one side and he had an Emmy on the other. And I'm like, who the hell has an Emmy? Where do you get an Emmy as a football coach?
If I had one, I'd put it up too. So, and I can't claim that I'm the one that designed this back here, but it certainly is a good addition to the office. So, yep.
Yeah, it looks good. Have you been to the Tri-Cities by chance?
I haven't. Haven't had
don't
go.
Don't go.
You got some experiences?
I was a sports anchor in the Tri-Cities a long time ago, and I lived out in Washington. But, that mountain range that runs through there, you get on the other side of that, baby, forget about grass and all that. They have nothing. It's desert. But a great place.
I can see the Cascades from here, and I think that's the range you're talking about. And that's beautiful, but I haven't had a chance to get across the state much, so but too busy.
But you're in a place that people don't think of football, I think, when you think of Washington, but they have history. They won a national championship. As a matter of fact, when I was a sports anchor out there, I think that they were just coming off of that. Was it Don James?
Yeah, Don James was one of the legendary coaches that was here for many years, and won a national championship. His, he has passed away, but his wife, Carol, still lives right across the lake here from the stadium. So have had a chance to be around her, and the legend of Don James is still strong. I mean, our alumni that come to practice and our fans, of course, just love who he was and the attention and notoriety he brought to our program.
Well, they've had that love for football, and that carries over to the Seahawks. I mean, we see that how loud they are. The fans out there are fervent, man. They love their team.
They do. I mean, you hit it on the head. We've talked to, one of our selling points here is that it's one of the loudest, if not, I think maybe the loudest recorded decibel level ever in college football. And the Seahawks, I think, have number 2. And so a lot of it is maybe the structure that we have. It's got some a roof over, or a cantilever, they call it, over the stands, and it kind of traps the noise in. And the Seahawks have the same thing, but our fans are passionate, and they love their dogs and they love their Hawks.
Well, they have good reason to be right now with you at the helm. When you were at Indiana, I was from the minute you got, I was like, this guy is good. This guy is a winner. And you've done nothing but that everywhere you've gone, starting from even the smallest levels in South Dakota. I said yesterday, I think he lost like 3 games out of a million. Your record was just crazy. You came to Indiana and you brought magic. And then, of course, you get the great opportunity unexpectedly to become a head coach back out to where you had come from. And then on to Washington. And now, ironically, we'll be back in the Big Ten. First of all, what's that like to know that you're coming back to the Big Ten?
Yeah, it's exciting. I know that there's a lot of emotions kind of on this end, especially those that have been in the Pac-12 for many years and grown up in it. And but also, times evolve and times change. And so we got to keep moving. And this was a great opportunity for not just our football program, but for our athletic department and university to join the Big Ten. So much history, in all those ways, athletic and academic related. So we're excited, and this is a big year that we want to make sure we take care of first. We're optimistic about the season. It's going to be a grind here in the Pac-12. There's a lot of really good teams, a lot of really good quarterbacks. And so take care of business in 2023 first.
Yeah, the Pac-12, USC, UCLA, still the big Oregon, all of the toughs are still in that conference. And you have a team that a lot of people have high expectations for, and rightly so. Last year was fun and exciting. I tried to watch every time I could. Everyone has great familiarity with you and Michael Penix Jr., who was just lighting it up. He was just fun. He was that guy to watch that you always knew he could be. And what a great year he had. Another great year expected for him. Heisman Trophy candidate. Now you're coaching a Heisman Trophy candidate on top of that. So I know that brings a little more. I don't know, it doesn't bring more pressure, but it certainly brings a lot more notoriety.
Yeah. We're not going to sneak up on anyone this year. That's for sure. A year ago, I think there was people that probably weren't sure, how good we were going to be. And, in the off season, you're watching the film of the teams that, are going to be competing for a championship that you got to beat at the end of the year, and maybe even the openers a little bit too. But we are not going to sneak up on anyone. It's exciting to get that notoriety, but we know it means nothing unless, we do our job and focus on what we can control. And we've done a pretty good job of that. Our guys, have really been pleased with how fall camp's gone and all season long. And it doesn't mean that, you don't hear it, but you don't let it affect and impact, the actions and how you speak and the work you put in. So we're on the right track.
I'll ask about Michael in a minute, but you've got a guy named Rome. Is it a Dunze? Is that how you say it?
Odunze, yeah. Yeah.
He led the Pac-12 in receiving last year. He's ESPN's 20th 20th best player in the FBS. So you have a Heisman Trophy candidate on your team, but we're talking about a guy who's the ESPN thinks is the 20th most exciting player that there is. You've got like a little Usain Bolt to throw to. So this guy, you guys got some serious firepower.
Yeah, Michael Penix drives the bus, right? But there's got to be some people on the bus, and he has guys like Rome and also Jalen McMillan, and we have a couple other receivers too, Jalen Polk, who are all back. We've added to those guys with some up-and-coming freshmen. Transfer Jeremy Bernard came to us back from Michigan State. So he's got a lot of guys that he can go to, and so you can't just focus on even just Rome, and that's what's exciting. And it's fun for us when we build the offense because you just move those pieces all over. They're very versatile. They're explosive. We got good length. Rome's in that 6'3" range, 6 at least, and Jalen McMillan as well. So Rome is just top tier guy all around. He's a guy, as time goes on and the NFL comes knocking, he's a guy you want to certainly invest in because he's got the whole package, not just who he is or what he does on the field, but who he is as a person. So I'm excited about everything in that pass game from Michael to the wideouts for sure.
I bet we've talked about the Husky train. Let's talk about the engine, Michael Penix Jr. We all saw him at Indiana. We know what he could do. That electrical season, his great play in 19 and 20. Indiana's a dream season almost. But he has had to overcome so many injuries, more than any quarterback I can recall, as a matter of fact. And last year we saw what a healthy Michael Penix could do, and man, was it fun to watch. I know this year he was a little dinged up and being protected a little bit in camp, but how's he doing so far?
Yeah, he's amazing. I know he had a pretty good year there in 2020 going. That was a tough year with COVID and everything, but I wasn't there that year at Indiana. But since I've known him, I've never seen him better. A full off season now, really 2 off seasons to train, to continue to grow, not just with throwing, but physically, mentally, chemistry with his teammates. I've never seen him in a better spot. And so I'm excited about what this season holds. And, a lot of expectations, as you mentioned, but he has got a lot of experience under his belt, 6 years of ups and downs, and he just handles it in such a mature way, and I think that's reminiscent of what it looks like when he gets on the field right now, where maybe things aren't going right. Maybe it was even a play he could have controlled the drive before, but he responds to that adversity because I think he's been through it, not just on the football field, but off. So we're excited about this upcoming season. He was a catalyst, and really having all our guys that would have gone to the NFL or could have gone to the NFL with the drafts, the grades they had, they all returned, and he was the one that kind of jump-started that back in early December last year.
Yeah, he's has to follow up a great year now with what is expected to be a greater year, and on top of that, he's going to have the Heisman situation going, because if he has a year like last year, there's no way he is not in that conversation, because he's already been mentioned. And that adds that's as the season progresses, that will tend to add weight with the success. Handling all of that, how do you expect him to be with that? Because he has done a marvelous job.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he's the first to know that, if you're going to win a Heisman, you got to win the big games, which means that you have to have a team around you that's pretty good on top of it. And so, as much as that award gets thrown around and his name's put kind of in that category, he knows it really doesn't matter unless we win those big games. And, that just is another piece that it reinforces, him being a team player, and all of this. And our team just has bought into him. It obviously happened a year ago because of what he was doing to help us win football games. But, the guys just love him, and he's so easy to root for as a person, as from his time at Indiana. And he's just a solid all-around individual, fun to be around, intense, when the competition is, there in front of him, but also just easy, got a big smile on his face, role model for the kids. They love him here. His line at Fan Appreciation Day was twice as long as mine. I noticed there about halfway through. And I'm a competitive person, so I want my line to be longer. Right? So I slowed down how quickly I was going through my autographs. But,
see, you're smarter. You got the smarts.
Yeah. No, I did, but I think the point. Just he's got so many people here in the Seattle community that just really are appreciative of what he's doing and excited to watch him play again this fall.
He is a great guy. He always had a smile on his face, was always generous with us with his time. And has there been a player that has benefited more from the COVID year than he has? I mean, we wouldn't be getting to see this Michael Penix if it weren't for that. And I'm looking forward to watching it. I got to tell you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure you can find some curses to it too, but it's certainly been, I think, a blessing in his mind that he got an option to be able to come back and take advantage of the continuity of being here a second year now, and enjoying the moment. That's the thing I think a lot of people appreciate with him from within, is that he also not just realizes that, hey, if I stick around, I can improve my draft stock, but just enjoying college football and how quickly, even if it's 6 years, how quickly it comes and goes. And this time is special, when you're around the people you love being around, that you, just believe in. And, I think him coming back was also partly due to just, hey, I want to enjoy college football. I had a blast last year. I want to do it again.
And Michael is obviously an electric quarterback that we're looking forward to watching. With all the change that has happened in college football, a lot of it none of us like, but it is what it is. But how fortuitous was it you would land in Washington and to be able to get a guy like Michael Penix Jr., whom you had a relationship with at Indiana? I mean, that's just weird for that to work out and for that magical season last year.
Yeah, it is. It certainly, it certainly made things easier from an offensive standpoint, where there were some struggles before we got here. Just putting points on the board, and there really was no consistency with a passing game. And so, Michael knew the offensive system, and it evolves and changes each year as far as what you add and kind of the directions you go. And a lot of times it's based on personnel, but he knew it from 2019, and pieces of that carried on through 20 and 21 there at Indiana with the system. And then coming here, really he was in a way kind of in his fourth year of the system, and kind of a coach on the field when they were having player run practices in the spring and summer. He was able to pretty much say, hey, this is what the coaches are going to want, and that just, I think, really propelled us and accelerated what we were able to do last year, offensively in particular.
This is the last season of the Pac-12, which is sad. I hate to see that, but I've said it is what it is. But you're still playing this year. You're still playing USC, UCLA, and all of that. I know your goal is to win this last championship. How cool would it be to be the last Pac-12 champion?
Yeah, that would be, to be a Pac-12 champion and just in general would be awesome. And so, but yeah, go out kind of with a bang would be amazing for our university, for all those that came before us here in this program and has so much pride and have won a lot of conference championships. They want to see that happen. And, we want to, with all these guys that have come back and the goals that they have in mind and set, it'd be amazing. It's going to be a great ride, and it's going to be a lot of challenging times, but I'm excited to do it with these guys.
USC, is that the team that you expect to be chasing for the title?
Yeah, there's the team that won the conference the last 2 years, Utah, and so quarterback coming back, Cam Rising there, and of course it was them and USC in the championship a year ago. So absolutely, and then Oregon right down the road, and those are a lot of the teams along with us that are ranked in the top 20, in the country that we have on the schedule this year. So there's a lot of tough games. Arizona's really gone up this last couple of years, and so we know each and every game. We feel we can win them all, but we also know that we could probably lose them all too if we don't bring our best each and every week.
Well, you're definitely listed in tier one by several publications, along with Utah and USC, as well as maybe Oregon. It's a tough conference this year, and it's going to be tough to win. But you guys have the experience now. What it's been like gaining that experience quickly? Because is it your third year at Washington?
The second year. So I went from
okay.
Indiana to Fresno in 20 and 21, and then last year was the first year here at Washington. So what was it like being that experience as being a head coach, that first experience in a big league? I know you were a head coach prior, but when you jump to the Pac-12, it's another level. Yeah, it was. And I think, I credit a lot of the people that helped get me to this spot, and prepared me. And, the Jeff Tedfords at Fresno, where I had come from, had been, he'd been a head coach at Cal for many years. And, you kind of see how things are supposed to be run, how they're supposed to be done. The experience that I had there at Indiana, with Tom and the staff there, and just kind of seeing the Big Ten made me really comfortable, with that opportunity when it came to being here at UW and what it should look like. And it's not even the X's and O's, and it's not those type of things. It's just the daily running of a program and how many different people touch the program and are involved and how to manage that. And so, I learned from some great coaches here, especially in these last, 5 years or so before I got a chance to go back to Fresno and then at UW. So I'm grateful for that. And, it's a lot of things happening, but you just try to isolate and put your priorities where they need to be and focus on the kids, make sure your staff's in a good spot and that you hire good people. And, things have worked out really, really well up to this point.
Absolutely, they have. You have it rolling at Washington, and I'm sure that they love it there for what you're doing. I know coaches don't look forward, and I'm not even talking about the season, but beyond that, I am going to ask about joining the Big Ten. The schedule is going to be completely different now. No idea who you're going to play, but you're going to be playing a Penn State, an Ohio State, a Michigan somewhere, either at home or on the road. First of all, that's exciting, but also it's going to be even more formidable now as the Big Ten grows to bring in USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington. But now you've got Penn State and all, like I said, all the teams I mentioned before in a great conference. Those are going to be some incredible matchups. I mean, think about playing in the Big House on a Saturday night or in the whiteout game at Penn State. That's going to be happening. That has to be just super exciting.
Yeah, it is. And, there's those matchups that have happened at times because of the Rose Bowl, connecting the Big Ten and the Pac-12 over the years. But now, our fans getting an opportunity to go into those stadiums, obviously our kids and our staff as well. But, like those matchups and not just happening in Southern California at the Rose Bowl, but happening regularly every single week, both ways. Us going out to the going east to the Midwest and then further. And also, the Big Ten schools coming here who, I grew up in South Dakota, and so most of my life has been spent not on the West Coast, other than maybe, just 6 years or so here. And it's different, on the West Coast. And so it'll be fun for the Big Ten fans that have been living out there to come out here and check out some games as well. So, but I'm excited. I'm excited, and I'm confident in UW, the support we get, that will continue to rise and continue to be right there where we need to be to, be challenging for, not just football championships, but other sports as well. So don't say that I don't say that in a way where, not out of respect, disrespect, anything. Just I know it's going to be tough, but I do believe that we have the bones of winning championships here in this program.
Absolutely. They have the pedigree. What is the thoughts of the fans? I know that everyone probably laments the loss of the Pac-12, as we all do, but what has it been for the fans? Have you heard as far as joining the Big Ten? Is that an exciting something they're looking forward to?
Yeah, I think that as things have kind of, happened, and we're a week or so, a couple weeks now from when everything was kind of decided. There was an emotional piece, and there still certainly is, but I think there's now an understanding of why the decision had to be what it was, and an understanding that, hey, there's always great opportunities that happen as you have times that change. And again, just the Pac-12 and the history and the tradition and all that, and our alumni, I think it's my job to make sure that, that past here, with the Pac-12 and all the great accomplishments that have happened with our alumni in the years in the past don't be forgotten, and they are not forgotten. And so celebrating that in the future, but also knowing that, man, it's going to be a fun ride, and great competition, amazing time in the Big Ten in the years ahead.
And having these great years, you had a great successful year last season and expected another one this year as you head into the Big Ten. And also next in 2024, not only that, the college football playoff will expand to offer more opportunities for teams like Washington, who you probably would have made it last year. Or we're close on that. So that changes so much. How much are you looking forward to that opportunity being that window being a lot bigger?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up small college football, and the playoffs, exist at that level. And so win or go home is fun. It's fun to be a part of. It gets nerve-wracking and stressful. The fans love it, but that'll be fun getting to that point where there's more teams involved in the playoff, and certainly getting there won't be any easier now being a part of the Big Ten, and I know that model is still probably being worked on is what that will look like based on now what's happened with the Pac-12 and the bids that would come from there. But, we're looking forward to, the competition to lead up to hopeful playoff appearances. But, that's going to be a lot of cool times for not just our players, but the fans as well of college football.
So I know your expectations are to win everything you can win this year. What are you looking to really get accomplished with this team this season?
Well, I think what we accomplish will just, we've gotten to this point because we are really good, I think, at focusing on now and not getting ahead of ourselves. And you can look at the schedule and look at a certain month, and I know from the outsider's view, they look at the end of our schedule in the month of November and, how tough that's going to be. Well, it was tough last year too. And, we did a good job of putting ourselves in a position where November mattered. And, that's what I tell our team as everyone's talking about November. And it don't matter if we don't take care of September and October. And, again, we focus on now, and our team is really good at, I think, playing and focusing on the present. So we have Boise State September 2nd, and that's really all we're focused on. A couple weeks later, we do get that Big Ten experience. We're going out to Michigan State, week 3. And so some of that travel and some of that Big Ten experience is coming maybe a year early, than next year. So we got a great lineup with our season, and just got to take care of business September 2nd, and that's when we're not even looking past right now for sure.
I think you're catching Michigan State at a great time, so good for you on that one. That should be. I don't mean the time of year. They're down right now. Indiana beat them last year in a game that shocked me that I'm still so shocked. They went up and beat Michigan State. But opening up with Boise State, Indiana opens up with Ohio State, which is obviously tough. But opening up with Boise State, not exactly a walkthrough practice.
No, not at all. I have a lot of familiarity with them. Played them 4 times as a coordinator when I was at Fresno State, and lost as a head coach when I was at Fresno State as well. So a program that's very proud and going to bring it, and they're going to be physical. They're going to be creative. We have a number of people on our staff, a lot of connections to Boise State. So I got 3 former Boise State players on my full-time staff, and I have a couple more that are off the field. So a lot of understanding of what that program's all about. And we know that, those are statement games for teams when they play up into, a game like us with, the week 1 opener.
My favorite ending to a football game of all time was the Boise State, Oklahoma Statue of Liberty. That's just emblazoned in my mind. Man, I cannot thank you enough, Kalen. I know you've got to get going. You've got to get to practice, busy, but I cannot thank you enough for taking the time. You've always been so gracious, and I really, really super appreciate you. Wish Washington the best of luck this year. Hope to see you in the national championship game.
Yeah, and I appreciate you too. It's been fun staying in contact since the great year and fun times I had at Indiana, and I wish stay in contact with Tom and a number of the staff there, and wish them nothing but the best. I still got some Indiana memorabilia behind me on the shelf from that season in 2019. So wish them the best as well. Appreciate all you do, and thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you, Kalen, and I'll see you next year in Indianapolis.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Good luck, Kalen. Appreciate you.
Thank you. You too.
Kalen DeBoer, head coach of the Washington Huskies, joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
If you're in the, are you not entertained?
That was a good conversation.
That was excellent. He's awesome.
He's a very friendly guy. Very friendly.
He's great. That was just excellent.
It was.
But I knew it would be.
Yeah.
So what are we going to have? 5 minutes?
Yeah, just about 4 or 5 minutes. Maybe not even that. Let me see. About 3 or 4 minutes. Perfect amount of time to wrap up.
Yeah, they come to Michigan State. They'll whip their ass.
You would think.
Oh, Michigan State is down. That's a win for Indiana. Indiana can make a – well, I've got to see them play, but I think that they can.
Can and will are two different things. Don't be afraid to say that they can, because literally 6 wins.
Well, I'm not. The only reason I'm not afraid to, I don't know. I haven't seen them. We have not. I don't know what they have. I really don't.
Yeah,
don't know their quarterback. Don't know how the quarterback's going to play. There's so many questions.
That's why I said yesterday they could go. In my opinion, their range is somewhere between 3 and 7. I just don't know. The unknown is what keeps me from giving it a definitive number prediction.
I feel more, like I said earlier with Zach, and been saying, I'm starting to feel a little bit better about him. But
I think the biggest thing is, I mean, if they legitimately fix the offensive line with Bob Bostad, I mean, I know it's not going to be perfect.
Biggest thing is quarterback. Biggest thing, you still have to have a quarterback.
Well,
even with an offensive line.
I'm not denying that quarterback is the biggest piece you need to have. But
the
fact that they've always had a decent quarterback. They've never had anybody who's been incompetent. What's been incompetent has been the offensive line. I think whoever the quarterback is will get broken in and eventually figure themselves out. It'll just be a matter of time. All right, here we go.
Brewing, Metalworks Brewing Company. Bring your passion and your thirst.
This segment is brought to you by K-Bello. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Friday. Thanks a lot for being with us. What a great show we've had today. Bob Kravitz, Zach Osterman. Bob Kravitz, of course, from Bob Kravitz. Was it Stack what?
.substack.com. But what does he call it? The musings of a...
Well, yes, Bob Kravitz, musings of an old sports writer.
That's right. I love the name.
But I do. But you reach him at bobkravitz.substack.com. Of course, Zach Osterman from the Indy Star. And we just finished up with Washington head coach Kalen DeBoer, former offensive coordinator at Indiana. But Washington, surely they're ranked in the initial AP football poll.
That's it's good. Let's check that out because I know that came out on Monday.
I know there's no way that they're not. Where is that? Yes, here we go. All right. Of course, Georgia's at the top. Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama.
They are not. Oh, no, they're number 10. Number 10.
There you go.
So there you go. Yeah, they got some high expectations this year.
Top 10 team, baby. They're ranked in front of Texas, in front of Tennessee, in front of Notre Dame, in front of Utah. More important.
Behind USC.
Well, yeah,
as you mentioned,
thinks
that'll be their biggest competition for winning the Pac-12, more than likely.
Now, though, I believe that the Pac-12 has divisions, and I don't think that they're in USC's division. I think
they do North and South. So
they're
Utah. Utah's gonna be their biggest divisional competition.
Yep.
But to win the conference, they will more than likely have to defeat USC in the conference championship.
Oh, absolutely. And wouldn't that be cool? I'd love to see that for Kalen. That would be awesome. Robert says he has a big question for IU football. Will the O-line be able to protect a quarterback? Well, that's what we've been talking about. Will they have any wide receivers that can hold on to the ball? Will they still be using that undersized running back? I'm not sure who that undersized running back is. If you're talking
If they're
about,
referring to the guy from Auburn, he's no longer on the roster, I don't believe. I think he graduated. I can't think of his name.
or if you're talking about Jalen Lucas, he's an All-American
Lucas,
who was lightning in a bottle every time he touches.
Surely he's not referring to Jalen Lucas. We could be wrong, but I can't think of the guy from Auburn that Indiana had last year. He was a really short guy. I think I know who he's talking about. I just can't think of his name.
Look at Pete. He's got him 2 front row on the baseline tickets for the Indiana-Auburn game coming up in Atlanta. He hasn't seen them play live in a long time, and, buddy, he's going to see them up close and personal.
There's the name, Sean Shivers. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Craig. Yeah, are you talking about Sean Shivers? That wasn't his fault. He was a good running back. He had nowhere to go. But I say that, and once Rod Carey took the offensive line over, there seemed to be improvement almost immediately because Dexter Williams was able to kill people. Indiana just ran all over Michigan State. That's all they did to win that game, although Michigan State down. But thanks a lot to everybody. John, the producer, for keeping us between the white lines. Incredible show. Thanks again to Bob Kravitz, Zach Osterman, and Washington head coach Kalen DeBoer. Most importantly, thanks to you guys. Without you, we have no reason to be here. Until Monday, I'm Jim Coyle. Have a great weekend. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.